Hello and welcome back to Cabincast with Oliver and Chris.
Hello.
We are here to talk again about Demon's Souls. Yeah, last time we did an overview of the game. We kind of just rambled, it was a bit all over the place. Today we're gonna start going through the game proper.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Potentially more appropriate to Dark Souls, but as the two things are relevant and considering what happened, it seems appropriate to mention. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Well, Kentaro Miura.
Yes, I think that's it. That's how you say
Creator
it.
of Berserk has passed away, and Berserk had quite a lot of influence on Dark Souls. And I mean, considering the Dark Souls is kind of similar to Demon Souls, probably both.
Yeah.
One would imagine. But yeah, it's very sad to hear. I've recently started watching well, I'm over halfway through it, but the 1998 Berserk.
The good
It's
one.
pretty cool. Yes, the good one. I've heard things about some of the other ones, and yeah, but no, I'm
Yes.
really quite enjoying it, and also it's terrifying because it's as old as I am. But there we are. But okay, so yes, Demon Souls starts with a cutscene, as all Dark Souls games do, and Demon Souls, well, all of them. I mean, as most games do, to be fair. Which kind of explains about the fog and the demons and how man screwed up again, basically. And then you show up in the journey to the Nexus, which you can skip on subsequent playthroughs, which is pretty neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you arrive at the Forlorn Outpost. Do you wanna take us through a little bit of what happens here, Chris?
Well, you start off just in I think it's like a drain or a sewer or something, just a wet tunnel,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, you just sort of plopped straight there. You have control of your character. If it's your first time playing one of these games, you have no idea what you're doing, but thankfully there are these messages on the ground that go, "Oh, you can move around with this stick and look around with that stick and do all this and that."
Yeah.
Typical tutorial things.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And yeah,
And
you've got some basic juggling enemies that you have to fight, and
can't die
they're pretty
to.
simple. Yes, you can't even die to them. So this is the most friendly a Dark Souls area ever is.
Mm-hmm.
Up until the end.
Mm-hmm.
You do get covered up with you get some of the the night enemies with like their shields and axes, and they do some little ambushes, and you get a blue-eyed knight at the end who is a bit more challenging. And it's kind of there to teach you how to do like blocking and parrying stuff. And you get some cosplay people to dodge. You get your first fog gate, and then you get a second fog gate, and you find yourself in a corridor with a massive beast known as Vanguard.
A
Vanguard
demon
Demon.
vanguard. Yeah.
Demon Vanguard. And I've not beaten him yet.
I've only fought him the once.
I've
I've
fought
skipped the journey to
him.
the Nexus every other time.
I fought him, I think, twice. I think.
Okay.
I don't remember if
But
we did it on our character that we went through, but yeah, he's tough.
big scary guy, very small area to run around him as well.
And can quite easily one-shot you.
Yeah.
So,
Oh
yeah,
yes.
it is a whole lot of fun.
But if you do manage to defeat him,
You get stuff.
You move on to the next area. You get yourself a nice, and it's like an actual fluted helmet for your fluted armor,
Yes.
more traditional one.
Yeah, and you move
You
on
get
to.
you get to meet a later boss in a rather unpleasant manner. Let's just say
Oh, yeah. Which boss is it?
it's the dragon god.
It is the Dragon God. Yeah.
You look at just a wall, and the dragon god punches you 30 miles away.
Yeah,
And
that's what it is.
yeah,
I knew I'd seen it at some point, but I'd completely forgotten about that part. Yeah. And then you wind up in the Nexus.
yes. If you either die
So
to the demon vanguard, or
Mhm.
I don't. If you die to the enemies before, maybe I'm not sure.
I
I know you can't
don't
die to the
know.
very first
You
ones, but
can't dive to them, so
um, or yeah, if you're punched in the face by the dragon god and killed that
yeah,
way, either way, you end up at the Nexus. What's the
indeed.
Nexus, Ollie?
The Nexus is the game's area hub from which you travel to the different regions and do stuff um, that hopefully doesn't involve you dying. As it's your first visit, you get your Nexial binding, which means that when you die, you
Your soul
basically
doesn't just
come back.
lose its
Your soul
form.
doesn't disappear. Your soul has been trapped by the Nexus. Though you don't always come back to the Nexus every time, you appear at Archstones, but it means you cannot die any
Yeah,
longer, and you are greeted by the Maiden in Black, who has her whole soul of the lost withdrawn from its vessel.
may strength be granted so the world might be mended.
That's the one. That's the
Yeah, that's
one.
fun.
It is. It is.
Yeah, she's like, "Hey, fight demons so you can get your body back.
Mhm.
There's an archstone there. See you later, maybe."
Yep. She sends you to the Monumental, which is just an
That's later.
annoying. That's after the first boss.
Yep.
Yes, that's what she does, isn't it? She sends you off and then disappears until you've killed the first boss.
Mhm.
Um, which is fun. But yeah, so at the Nexus, this is where like most of all the people who you interact with in the world will end up if you do interact with them and do their quest lines properly.
Mhm.
But there's also a couple of people who will seem similar if you played other Souls games, and some who you don't have or don't live in the same place. So you've got Baldwin, who's the blacksmith, who will forge weapons and sell you stuff. Um, like Lemongrass. Like it's Dark Souls 2, man.
Or
Does
Andre in Dark Souls 3
or
as
Andre in
well.
Dark Souls 3. Good point. I had forgotten that in Dark Souls 3 he was in there, but he is indeed. Um, yeah. You also got Stockwell Thomas,
Hmm.
who is only in this one really. You do have storage boxes in later games, but Stockwell Thomas is kind of interesting because he's where you store your stuff when you're carrying too much, because equipment load is a thing in this.
Inventory
Um,
weight, yeah.
though we have discussed that already, so we won't dive into it. But he's a nice chap. He just looks after your stuff for you.
Yep.
And then you've got your initial spell casting vendor and cleric casting vendor.
Hmm.
And you've got the Crestfallen Knight,
Yep. You got a
who just kind of
monumental up the top.
is sad.
He doesn't
And then you've got
chat.
the Monumental at the top, who you probably will never know is there until you're told to go meet him.
Hmm.
Uh, and they might still not know he's there. It's been ages looking for him, like I did. Um,
I went too high up my first time looking
yes,
for him.
same. Because I just kept going past him. So after that, you head on the first Archstone because only one of them is presently activated, and that takes you to 1-1
Volataria Gates.
Volataria Gates.
Mhm.
What happens when you spawn in here, Chris?
There's a little like flyby cutscene
There is.
that I think it shows a wyvern, drake, whatever you want to call it.
It's one of the 2 Dargons. I think it's the
Arrogans.
red one. Or was it the red and the blue one?
I don't remember which one.
Don't remember, but it's one of them or both of them. They're pretty menacing. And we'll kill you later, probably.
I don't think I've
Very
actually died to
difficult
them.
to kill. I don't think I've actually ever died to them either, but they've never died to you.
Same.
They are demons. Everything in this is a demon.
Well, some of them are
everything that's
soul-starved, working for the demons.
big, yes. All the big creatures are demons, even though they look like, dragons or
Dragons are just a type of demon.
giants. They're just demons because of they are things that have come from a lance head. Basically, he's made things that ancient stories of like dragon slaying and all that stuff. So there's 2 demons, well, or 3, but one of the demon dragons has been killed, I guess. And then like how all of his demons too, in the Phalanx, the Tower Knight, and the Penetrator first, but yeah. So they do their
Very
flyby, and
intimidating
you are
wall with a big
very
old gate.
intimidating wall. Yes.
Big old shut gate.
Thing that you cannot get through. Find little barricades. Very reminiscent of the early areas of all 3 of the later Dark Souls games. To be fair, they were kind of a similar start area.
Yeah, it did give me, Undead Berg vibes.
Undead Berg, yeah, Undead Berg more so than
more than the High Wall or the
High Wall or the Forest of Undead
Forest of Fallen
Giants, Hall of Giants, yeah. But yeah, some similarities throughout all 3. They all got the kind of regular soldier types and the little barricades that can be broken and signs of lots of fighting and stuff going down. That certainly hasn't changed. But yeah, quite a few enemies here. They're very weak. But they can like leap at you and flail about, and some of them are fire, which is a bad thing to have to deal with at this early stage. And then yeah, you're presented with a left-hand turn as your only weapon, because there's a gate to the right which is shut. There's a gate ahead of you which is shut, and there's also a gate to the left next to where you go, which is shut.
Yeah. Indeed.
So you've got there's one route to head down. You get shot at by a crossbow man on the way, and then there's this big hole.
There is
Do you
indeed,
ever
yes.
think, hey, am I supposed to go down this hole?
I mean, I sort of did, but then something jumped at me, fell down the hole,
and
died instantly, and I was like, maybe not.
See, I killed those things too fast, and so did not have that first time. So I was like, well, let's try it, because there's all this like weird swirly soul stuff. So I was like, that seems like a thing you meant to do, but I was wrong. It is not, and I died. But yeah, again, another kind of easy encounter to kind of get you into it with the crossbow chap and the 2 enemies then attacking you.
Although you've got to be, you do have to be very careful in that area, because there's a lot of people that you could, if you're not paying attention, just run straight past.
I was going to say yes, because the next room is a shadowy room, which will quite easily let enemies creep up on you and ambush you if you're not paying attention.
Hmm.
And there's quite a few ambush points like that in this first area with the Dreglings. Yeah, quite a lot of fun encounters. You then get another couple of knights that you have to come across and fight, and you get your first fog gate
Mhm.
in this area. And whilst I had like a long time ago seen like a playthrough of most, if not all, of Demon Souls, I had basically forgotten everything. So every fog gate was again being like, I don't think this is a boss,
Mm.
but
That
I'm
first
not
one, I
sure.
thought that's way too early for a boss.
I was pretty sure it was way too early for a boss, but I was not certain.
Mm.
But it's not a boss. Beyond it, however, is a little bit more of a more tricky area. Got a set of stairs with people with fire bombs again, as always in the early areas, throwing
Fire
them.
bombs and fire swords and explosive barrels.
Lots of fire stuff that they throw down at you. Um, they throw it all on down, and yeah, you just gotta try and avoid that, not get hit by it, and kill them. Obviously, there's always barrels about that you can crash through. I don't know why, but you could. And
And
yeah,
yeah.
and you can get to the top of this bit, and you go to the outside place with a bunch of Dreglings who are
Mhm.
Dreglings. Again, you fight them, you come back inside, and then if you're me, every single time you forget that there's a guy here who rolls down a ball.
Ah, yes. Big old ball man.
Hmm. The
It's a
big
very
old
important
ball
ball,
man.
though, because you can't get the claymore without it.
Yes. Much like with the one in Dark Souls, it opens up a route for you to go do something else.
Not
The
quite an essential
Claymore's
item
not
as
quite
Dark Souls,
essential, but
though.
still, yeah,
My first run through,
indeed.
the only one where I actually used it, I stopped using it because I realised it's worse than the starting sword I had.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little bit.
But if you go up past him, you end up on
Mhm,
top of the wall.
you do. And this is where it starts to get challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so this is where you've got another Blue Knight. And Blue Knights, I was alright. Blue Knights, I got pretty good at parrying them pretty quickly, and yeah, they're not too bad.
The Blue Knights are fine. It's the Red Knights, of
The
which
Red
your first
Knights,
one is up here.
indeed.
That's another problem.
Yeah, so taking the shorter way out first, if you go left, you'll fight a couple of enemies with a spear and a crossbow, regular kind of stuff. And then you head into a room and head on down. A path to like there's nothing here, and was like I considered using him to farm for souls, and I was like it's too much, it's too difficult, it's not going to work out. And so I stopped doing that pretty quick. What were your experiences with him like?
Yeah, I mean, you just run up to him. I'm a big heavy knight with a shield. Block his
Yeah,
first attack. Oh, he's broken my guard. Ah, he stabbed me. Oh wow, I've been one hit and I'm dead.
yeah,
Not pleasant.
not pleasant, not pleasant at all. However, if you go in the opposite direction, you go down some sets of stairs,
Hmm.
and there's some again fire enemy chaps here. Um, you can also cut down a couple of bodies from an outdoory bit, which will give you a couple of pickups when you're on the ground. And yeah, you can open a shortcut back to
Oh, back from
the
the
ground.
Archstone.
Indeed, which I missed
Indeed. Really?
on my first times round. Yeah, I kept going left and not straight on because I didn't notice that there was a door there because I'm stupid.
Uh,
And yeah, so that was a mistake. Because it meant that I had to do a lot more stuff to try and get where I needed to go.
yeah.
But eventually figured it out and was like, oh, well, that's very annoying. Because it's when I was trying to be like, well, I've unlocked this thing and I've done the boss. So where on earth does the other one go? So it was after it
Mm.
was even useful. Um, which is just very, very kind of unfortunate and typical. But there we are. But yeah, so once you've done those two extra things / one extra thing, the other thing's important for much later. Um, one of those. Oh, you do also find the cling ring heading down these stairs, which is one of the best things in the game.
If you're trying for pure white world tendency,
Mhm,
that ring is pretty much essential.
yes.
I see.
As it gives you 75% of your maximum health instead of 50% when you're in spirit mode,
Hmm.
which is good. Which is good. It's like I think it's called the Ring of Binding or something in Dark Souls 2, which does a similar
Mm.
thing. However, yes, after you head through the second fog door, which indicates this is the actual critical path. At least in this
Indeed.
instance, you've got some more enemy chaps who you've got to go and fight your way through.
Hmm.
And then you've got your first vendor, who's out in the world at least. There's obviously
Mm.
other actual vendors about. In the little Dreglin guy who's got a great accent.
Yeah. It always takes me a lot longer to get to him because I always take the alternative route here.
Ah,
Because
I see.
a feature that they have in Demon Souls that they don't have in any of the other Souls
Mhm.
is certain services, and there's no really indication of what services,
Yeah.
but certain services you can vault over. And there's one here
Indeed.
that you can vault over to get to, well, I guess our first NPC out in the world if you haven't gone to the
Indeed.
Dregling vendor first.
Yeah.
Um, and also another really good ring, the Thief Ring.
Yes, the
But
thief
you
ring,
vault
which
over
gives you harder
here
to detect.
and you find the hero or Strava. That's who it is,
A
right? That's his name.
Strava.
It
Yes.
is a Strava. Cool. Um,
It is
who's
a
like,
Strava.
oh dear God, that was quite a nice jump, my bro. But there's lots of horrible
Yeah.
dreglings here. Can you help me, please, Tar?
Indeed. That
And
is.
if you jump down and help him, or just throw some fire bombs, he'll jump down after you once you've cleared them out, and he'll give you his most prized possession.
Which is a brass telescope,
Yeah.
which allows you to zoom in a little bit on stuff if you want.
Hmm.
It's
I've never used it.
I've never used it, no. But yeah, he's pretty cool. He's got a cool set of armor. He's got a cool sword and shield that he borrowed from someone. Um, and he is the son of the king.
Mm.
but we don't know that yet. Or
Yeah, we
do
don't know
we? I
that.
don't remember. We don't know that yet.
No, we don't. We
We
don't.
oh, we don't. We don't.
Oh, actually,
Yeah.
maybe I can't remember whether he mentions the king or his father, the king.
Mm. We know he's here to try and figure out what happened at the very least,
Mm.
and he's kind of a mixture between the Maya.
Mm.
Is it
Yeah, I guess.
Siegmeier?
I think so.
Siegmeier of Katarina is in Dark Souls. Yes, so it's Siegmeier, who he is a mixture of. He's a mixture of Siegmeier and Solaire, in that you have to
Mm-hmm.
keep saving him from scrapes. Like you did with Sigrud. Siegmeier, I literally just said it multiple times. And oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Well, I guess you have to save both of them from scrapes. But one of them succeeds in their quest line and the other does not. Well, the other's just an adventure for fun, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Solaire kind of, with him. Obviously, he panned out not to be the lost son of Gwyn, but everyone thought he was at the time. And he's got this whole the sun thing, and he's all like jolly corporation, and NPCs will actually just be in the world and wander about and fight enemies and stuff, which again is not a thing that they really do later at all.
Mm.
Unless you attack them first or summon them, which is interesting because clearly they could. But it is still kind of weird to see, just NPCs, mainly Ostrava, just wandering about.
Mm. Yeah. He does wander about and getting himself into a lot of trouble.
He does.
I
He
wonder if
really
anyone's just
does.
left him to it and ended up having him die.
If you I imagine if you're wandering around for long enough, then it could quite possibly happen. Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see him managing that. I know that the best way is to kill him if you want to get his stuff, to let everything else almost kill him, and then just just do the final by yourself. But
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, pressing on, you can like Chris said, you kind of go a few ways because if you've jumped over, you'll get to some other things first. Whereas if you've not jumped over, you'll get to some other things first. There's a firebomb trap where there's some explosive barrels, and a guy will throw a firebomb in your general direction, and you're like, that's nothing, I can tank that with my shield up, and then the whole place explodes and you die.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, some more regular enemies. Then you get a bunch of people on a platform with some crossbows, and you can go fight
Mm-hmm.
them. And there's some more people with axes. And then you've got some stairs that go down to where there's a bunch of dreglings, and there's a thing you can burst through, and there's a blue-eyed knight down there, and that's how you get back to where Ostrava is. If you came this way instead, I believe.
Yeah.
And yeah, you head up the stairs, you get another blue-eyed knight who's on stairs this time, which is a bit more tricky, but not really. And yeah, from there, there's
There.
another fog door, I think, isn't there?
Yes, I think so. Leads you out onto sort of the outer wall again.
Yes,
Well, not quite onto the top of the wall, but alongside it.
indeed.
And it gives you the opportunity well, there's a very long thin corridor filled with dreglings. Horrible
Yes, there is.
place. Never actually fought any of them myself because there's a quite
No.
easy way to deal with them,
Yeah,
which is just whack a box that's holding a load of stones, and they all just roll down and
roll
kill all
down and
those, and
kill.
that's fun.
Yeah,
Possibly kill you if you're a bit overeager.
if Yeah, if you're too close, they will hit you with the hitboxes as well.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, so once you've easily killed them, and you head on, you get again an upgrade in the kind of enemies. Now you've got people with like not pikes, but quite long spears. Winged no, it is just spears, okay. They just feel very long. Spear guys who kind of keep you at a distance while the other non-spear guys try and get closer. Again, mixing up the encounters and stuff like that. Again, as time goes on, not too tricky, but at first, could prove an issue. And yeah, you kill them. Is there anything to the right?
No, right's just a completely flat wall,
No,
I
it's
think.
just a wall. The left leads you out onto a large green space. And there's the dragons out there, so
Indeed.
that's good. Um,
Also, my favourite shield in the game,
yes, is that the pink
purple
flame
flame
shield?
shield.
Purple flame shield.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
there's
useful,
a
very
few other
handy.
things there as well.
I don't
Uh,
know about any of the other things. I don't think I've ever gone
there's
back there
other
because it's
rings and stuff.
terrifying.
But it is terrifying, and I've rarely got them. So if you bait the red dragon to do what we're going to talk about next, um,
You can run back before it
you
gets
can
back.
run back before he can flame you, and you can grab the stuff if you're careful, and then you can kind of do a little loop-de-loop beneath them to grab some
Or
other stuff.
if you have pure white will tendency, they disappear, I think.
Yeah,
Don't they?
uh,
Yeah,
I think so.
I think
I
so, yeah.
think they might. Could we be wrong? Yes, definitely, but we might be right. Um,
Yeah. Isn't that more
uh,
important?
Indeed. But yeah, you can also kill them, but takes a
Good
lot of
luck.
time and effort. Yeah, good luck indeed. You do get their souls for it, but uh, not worth it. So, yeah, you do, however, next come across a flipping massive
Very
bridge. That's the word I was looking for. Full of tons of enemies with spears and axes and crossbows and firebombs and barricades.
Actually, I'm not sure there are
Um,
any firebombs.
maybe not firebombs, but there is fire breath.
Yeah.
Because luckily for you, it doesn't matter that all this stuff is here. Because Dragon's just gonna fucking show up and kill everyone anyway.
Unless you're like me and too cautious to properly be on the bridge, and so you're just kiting them away one at a time and have to fight your way all the way through,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Yep.
fun.
Yeah. Uh, very fun. But yeah,
Um,
so you deal with them one day or another.
and you get to the other side, and what's on the other side, Ollie?
On the other side of this is a
Is
lever.
yeah. And what does the lever do, Ollie?
The lever opens the big door. That's
Yeah. Back at the start.
back at the start. Yeah. Um,
Um, yeah.
and yeah, that opens up the first actual boss for you. You see a massive flipping like spear come yeeting out and land in the ground for
Every
some
time I
reason.
start a new game and I start going through the Boletaria gates, I go, there's something weird about this starting area. Oh yes, that giant spear that's there 90% of the time isn't there yet.
Yep.
It just looks very odd.
It does. It does. Yeah. And with that, you can head back inside and back down some more. Well, actually, no. First of all, you've got another couple of little corridors with a couple more ambushes. Uh, to deal with first, I believe.
Yes. Probably the worst ambushes because
Mhm.
one of them at least is a pain in my ass.
Yeah, one
Because
of
they're the
these
long
definitely.
spearmen as well.
Yeah, I've definitely been killed by one of these ambushes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Um,
But once you get past those, and you get to climb down the other tower for the gatehouse,
yeah,
there are weird blobs of goo with big shields and spears there.
there are. From the front, they are very difficult to hit, but they're quite slow moving, and so if you can get around behind them, you can make quick work of them. And fire is also very useful against them,
Yeah.
which is good. Yeah, and yeah, down the bottom, it's the kind of big old panel on the other side, which you open, and yeah, boss fight time.
Boss fight time.
And
Probably
this
one of the
boss
easiest boss fights.
is the Phalanx, or the Phalanx, which,
Yeah.
yeah, is relatively simple, but looks very imposing at first. Um,
I mean, it's a big old blob covered in shields with lots of spears sticking out, so it's very
yeah,
intimidating at first.
yeah, it's like a Phalanx. But yeah, the actual boss, it says himself on here, but it's probably herself based on I mean, it's a demon, so actually, I'm not sure if they have a gender, but
The person they're
anyway,
based off of is a her.
is a lady who has a bow, and it's a very ridiculous bow when you get it to actually use. It's a really cool design, but it's like, why do you do this?
Yeah.
It's, yeah, it's very cool. But yeah, she's a very good archer. Um, and she was from a
Oh, tribe,
tribe
right?
or something initially, and that's kind of why it's like, there's a whole tribe of things working together.
Yeah.
And yeah, they'll shoot spears at you and stab at you. Um, and they do quite a bit of damage. They do quite a bit of damage if you do not block the damage or avoid them. And
Mm.
yeah, some of them are just kind of around in the room. And you want to deal with those ones. And use lots of fire.
Yes.
They are weak to fire. Fire makes it so much easier.
Yeah. When I do my runs, my subsequent runs, now that I know where all the fire bombs are
Hmm.
that you can grab running through the level. So there's quite a lot of them, and then you just
Hmm.
pop into the boss fight. Just make sure you're behind a pillar or something, and just pop out and constantly throw these things.
Yeah,
And nice and easy.
and you can also use whatever makes your weapon on fire.
But pine resin.
Yes, that's what it is, pine resin. Because that is not what it was called. In the original, it was turpentine.
Ah, does turpentine burn well?
I don't know,
Hmm.
but that's what they used.
Ah, turpentine is a fluid obtained from the distillation of resin harvested from living trees, mainly pines.
So pine resin is a simplified version of that. That's
Yeah,
pretty
I
cool.
guess.
C10H16. Um,
Has an
I guess,
auto ignition temperature of 220 degrees Celsius.
mhm,
Ooh, and it's yellow.
and it's
I'm
yellow.
going to stop
So
looking
yeah,
at turpentine now.
I guess that's why they would change it to pine resin, because it's
Sounds a
basically the
bit more
same thing,
fantasy.
and that sounds a bit more fantasy. Yeah, even though it is actually exactly the same.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, again, a pretty simple fight. I occasionally have trouble with it, um, because he heals himself somehow, and I've not ever figured out how.
I think it's if you don't
But he
damage the
does.
actual main body for a while, it starts to heal.
Yeah, I think it must be something like that.
But it's not that
Um,
it matters because the main body itself isn't that much of an issue, I find.
mm.
Because
But
obviously,
also,
once you've defeated all the little ones,
mhm,
it can't hurt you.
yeah,
So
I don't think I've ever killed all of them.
I, the first time
I've
I definitely
I've
did.
I've killed about half of them every time, and then just managed to get myself in a place where I can just hit the main body, and the other ones just don't seem to be able to hit me. And I don't really know how that works, but that's what's happened every time. And then obviously, my last character I did was magic, and they did magic, and it died.
Hmm,
Because magic is very powerful in this game.
indeed.
And yeah, so you kill him. It's pretty smart. It's pretty good, or her, as I was saying. And that's your first demon soul, which means that you can go back to the
Mm-hmm.
Nexus and actually level up.
You get your body back as well. Very
You do get
fun.
your body back, so you're back to full health. And if you're trying to do pure white, this is when you go back to the Nexus and you jump off at the tallest point, so that you do not lose your pure white mode tendency by dying as a human out in the world itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now, yeah, you receive the lead demon's soul, and
Is it
you
is it lead? I thought it was lead because they're like a lead, you know, loads of other little demons.
that it's about the same, right?
Yeah.
So okay, cool. I was just like, I'm
Just
not reading the wrong word, but lead would also make sense. Lead would also make a lot of sense.
yeah.
I just see that and I'm like, lead. That's what that says, but also because the next one's iron, but I don't know. Um, so yeah, the whatever demon's soul this is can be given to Blacksmith Ed along with a short spear +7 to create the scraping spear, which is one of the spear boys that the Phalanx has. Or you can consume it for 1,520 souls. This is also the point where you actually do go and talk to the Monumental, and he gives you the rundown on how humans screwed up again, basically, in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and other Monumentals are here to kind of be like, please don't do it again, guys. Okay, thank you. But then they all died off, and someone did it again anyway. As you do. And that's 1-1 in a nutshell. There's a couple of other bits that we've skipped over. There's a bit you come
Mm.
back to later where there's an executioner lady if you're pure white world tendency.
Yes. I hate her. She kills me a lot.
She's very strong. Um, yeah, she's very strong. And
Yes, she's very strong.
yep,
I
very
don't know
strong.
what else to say. But
No,
you end up actually going down that hole that Ollie likes to jump down, apparently.
I fell down it multiple times. I killed her first time, but the hole killed me a lot more.
Yeah.
Which yeah, I didn't appreciate, but it happened. So there we are, I guess. And yeah, there's stuff down there probably. I don't remember what.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a place you'll come back to later anyway. You don't do that right now. We might, after we've covered all the actual locations, potentially do like a pure white and pure black, like kind of thing maybe, where we go over
Yeah,
that stuff.
could do.
That might be useful. Um,
Fortunately, I don't know what Pure Black does in any of the worlds, really.
no, me neither actually. Me neither. Um, but yeah, let's do 1-2. 1-2 is pretty short, so
Fair enough.
I think we've got time to do 1-2. Uh, 1-2
Hmm.
is a straight line.
Yeah.
It's a,
You
it's a
start
slightly
off
curvy
down.
straight line, but it's more vertical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go from the sort of gatehouse bit down to a. It's almost like a waiting area, to be honest,
Mm.
because you're on the King's Path. You've just gone
Yes.
through the gates and you're going to the main Volataria city.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then yeah, there's some carriages around, there's some cages and boxes and everything.
Yep.
If you go down one way, you can see our good old friend Estrava. You're like, help me, I'm stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple more phalanx oozes, slimes, whatever you want to call them, chilling out down there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you you go through all this bit, and yeah, there's a bunch of corridors. There's dogs. They're dogs in a Souls
Yes.
game, so they're annoying and suck.
Mm.
Yeah, that's pretty much all there
Yeah,
is to say
yeah,
about them.
you have two options of either you go over
Mm-hmm.
and you have to deal with possibly getting burnt, and also there are a load
Yes.
of crossbowmen around, or you go
Yes.
under and there are dogs and more
Dogs in
crossbowmen.
ambushes with jugglings and more crossbowmen. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is where the blue drake will come and try and breathe fire. No, this is the red drake again, actually, isn't it? The blue one
I'm
comes in
unsure.
1-3.
Sure, if you say so.
It's one of them. We don't know. Mainly focus on the fire, not the color of the thing breathing it. I think it might be the red drake again, and the blue one just shows up later. But I could be misremembering that as well.
Who knows?
Anyway, so well, we could figure out very easily, but we're deciding not to. It's the red drake. It's the red drake. I just decided I'd find out, and I found out it's the red drake.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a bunch of towers with more crossbow people on, and some nice things to pick up. Luckily for you, the drake will only breathe fire in between one tower and the next, and not on the towers themselves, so you can stand up here and just kind of stare at him as he does his thing. You could probably even shoot at him, I'd imagine, but that's not the meta of how to kill him, because I imagine he does a lot less damage,
Mm.
and you're not guaranteed to get hits. So, yeah, there's like 2 or 3 of these sections where the drake will kind of fly down and breathe fire on the place that you're crossing. You just got to sprint on a couple of them, because you can't go underneath like the last one. And yeah, whenever you can go underneath, there are plenty of like ambushes and dogs and crossbowmen. And we come across the Dregling for a second time.
Yeah, the Dragling
Um,
Merchant right at the end underneath.
yep, and he sells a bit more stuff. Um, I've never really bought much stuff from him, but he does sell it.
Yeah.
So so there you go. Yeah. Do we have anything else to say before another boss? A couple of blue knights at the end and a whole bunch of crossbow people. That killed me a bunch of times because I was
Yes.
either
Many,
not
many, many
on
times.
enough and the fire killed me, or I was on too much because of the fire and I got shot or killed by the blue knight.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one certainly takes a lot of effort.
Yes. It's a lot of learning, that one. And yeah, then you get into kind of another portcullis place,
Mm-hmm.
where there's an area that I kept missing, but you found. So do you want to talk a bit about that?
The upper bit, or
Both of them.
if you go up, you can see just a couple of archers who are chilling up by the old on the top of the gate. Just
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know what to say. They're just chilling there. There's not much up
Yeah,
to them.
there's not
There's a
that doing
crystal
anything.
lizard up there. But afterwards, if you grab some keys from somewhere else. I can never remember where exactly.
Me neither.
You can go down there into a prison, and you get to meet and rescue. Is it Bureau of the Twin Fangs?
Something like Bjor.
Bureau of the Twin Fangs.
Yes.
Very cool dude with a big old helmet who's just being held down there. And if you do actually go down there and rescue him, he will help you in a later boss fight.
Mm-hmm. He
Very
will.
cool.
Which he has for Chris,
Mm-hmm.
and not for me, because I did not find him.
Mm.
Because I do not see doors. Apparently, not just in this one, but in all the Souls games, I miss doors that are very obvious, and I don't understand how, but I do. But yeah, so that happened. Pretty cool. And then you've got the second boss fight, or later, depending on where you decide to go, because after defeating the Phalanx, all the other Archstones do open up to you. But this was
Mm-hmm.
initially my second boss fight,
Same.
which is the Tower Knight,
Yeah.
who is um,
A straightforward
kind of,
fight.
yes, it's a good mixture of a spectacle fight. It's better than Dragon God.
Every fight's better than
Every fight's
Dragon
better than
God.
Dragon God, but yeah, so it's better than Dragon God. I think it's not as good as Storm King.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment to make.
So it's kind of in the middle. So there's a bunch of archers around the sides who will shoot at you, and you have to kind of run up there and kill them before fighting the Tower Knight himself. Or you don't, as me and Chris did on our combined run, and he got the achievement for, but he killed one of them on my run, so I did not get the achievement, so I'll have to do it another time. But that's okay. But yeah, so there's a bunch of crossbowmen, even archers. You go kill them, that's easy enough. While the Tower Knight shoots energy blasts at you, and as long as you're not stupid, you can avoid those pretty well.
Yeah.
And then you get down with him and you just got to attack his ankles. And again, as long as you're not stupid, it's alright. His moves are
I
pretty
died
easy
many
to.
times to him.
Okay. I did the first
Always
time, but we'll
stupid.
brush over this. Yeah. If you, his attacks are slow, and quite well telegraphed, but they do hit like a truck if they hit you. And if one staggers you, then odds are another will hit you, and you'll die. And Chris was a very slow boy the first time through.
Yeah.
I
Oh
was not
yeah.
particularly fast, but I don't think I was as slow. And yeah, once you can stagger him and knock him down, you can do damage to his head, and he takes a lot of damage there. And again, doing magic to this guy kind of is cheating. We granted came back to him very late game in our co-op when we did, and I hit him like 3 times, I think, and he died.
Yeah.
So
That was a very
yeah,
quick boss.
it was. Much harder to do, obviously, if you keep the cosplay people alive, because you've got to avoid all of those as well, but not impossible, obviously. I would be interested to try that at some point in the future,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
probably will. And it is the origin of what is almost a carbon copy, I would say, boss fight later. Actually, it's not, but there are some similarities between it.
And the
Um,
what? The adjudicator.
no. In
Uh,
in
in
Bloodborne.
oh, I haven't got
So
that probably then.
I can't tell you more about that because that would be spoilers.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, similar style of boss mixed with elements of the Gaping Dragon boss fight from Dark Souls, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know which one's better. That one's really mean and annoying, but quite fun, and I quite enjoy this one as well. The music's pretty good in this one too, so there's that. But yeah, you defeat him, and you can't go any further here yet, because you've got to defeat the other you've got to defeat an archdemon before you can come back here.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to head off elsewhere, which is what I then did, and what Chris then did.
Indeed.
And that finishes out Bolotaria for now. And
Yeah.
our episode this time. Unless we can think of any other notes that we need to say about this one.
Nope.
Nope. I guess you get his soul. Actually, which
Don't know what you can trade it for.
The Iron Demon's soul, which you can trade for the spell Warding from Sage Frake.
Yeah.
Which I think reduces damage. I think that's what it did. Seems pretty good. Or you can get 4,400 souls from it. And yeah, there we are. The actual tower shield itself, because it's got like a massive shield and a big like lance kind of thing, and it's a cool design. You can get the tower shield much later, but it's bloody heavy.
Indeed.
I've never been strong enough to build that as of yet, but someday maybe.
Maybe.
But we'll leave this one here for now.
Indeed.
And we will return next time to start on Stonefang Tunnel all the way up to Best Boss Dragon God. But until then, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Cabincast. For more episodes, go to www.cabincast.podbean.com or use the Podbean app. You can now also find us on iTunes and Pocket Casts under Cabincast and on YouTube. The uploads here are quite behind. Finally, you can find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Cabincast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.